Everyone's talking about how disappointing the latest chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen was. It really got me thinking about how a lot of these mangaka are really amateur when it comes to writing. And I mean this in like the most objective sense because it sounds kind of crazy to say, but it honestly is very true.
It's not true, and I'll tell you why. So first I want to start off with, this is my mutuals, so no hate, but I am a little bit disappointed in some of my other mutuals who are making videos actually agreeing with this take, especially because some of you guys like myself are working on a manga or a story. This take comes from the fact that he sees a lot of other people unsatisfied with JJK's ending, saying because this is their first time writing a long form story that they don't know how to write endings. So you called it amateur, but I think the word you want to use is beginner, because beginner means that they're new to this type of thing, whereas an amateur means that they're inept and they don't have the ability to really do it. And I think both don't work, because I don't think you're going to call these people amateurs because they clearly have ability to write great stories, which is why so many people like them in the first place. And I don't think you can call them a beginner, and I'm going to go into why. So I do think it's fair to call a manga writer or any writer who's new to writing a beginner. However, you're talking about long-running manga stories, and I think after about 5 to 7 years of writing a story, calling them a beginner is a bit unfair. I think if you're doing something on a professional level for 5 years plus, you're not a beginner. But you also talked about experience. You said that they don't have experience writing endings in long-form stories. However, this is where writing and studying writing comes into play. You've talked about how mangaka have been writing one-shots and short stories. Those are endings, because at the end of any story you're writing, you need to fulfill your theme. What are you trying to say? What have you been saying this whole time? Every ending is going to be the same, because there are going to be good writers, there are going to be bad writers, there are going to be okay writers. Most stories are just okay, which is why a lot of stories are forgettable. Also talked about how mangaka are writing chapter to chapter. A lot of the times they actually have a backlog. It also kind of sounded like you were insinuating that novel writers have everything figured out because they're spending years writing this. So are mangaka. A lot of the time they put years in before they're actually ever officially published in a magazine. But another thing about novel writers and manga writers is that they're all writers. Some writers know exactly how their stories are going to end. Some do not. That just depends on the person. We're talking about endings. We're talking about people enjoying them. Not everyone's going to enjoy every ending. Most stories don't have an ending that their entire fan base enjoy. We're talking about JJK. What I've noticed is a lot of people don't even understand the narrative or the theme of the ending of the story. I've seen people hate on it, and then someone explained to them, hey, this is what this means. And they're like, oh, that's actually pretty good. But hold on. I'm not saying these stories are perfect, but I don't think like any story is really perfect. There are just going to be stories that are perfect to you.